1. Harry Potter and Hermione get sent on a mission to stop some troublemakers. When they get there they see Draco Malfoy, and one of his friends Hermione cast Inflame You at Malfoy. Malfoy tries to run out of the way by trying to go into a door, but the door is sealed off and now Harry cast Inflame Malfoy, but Malfoy ducks, and it hits the door and then they hear fire. When Harry open the door there's a giant fire on the other side with all the rocks gone. And then he sees out of the shadows big fire snake. Malfoy runs on top of a chair while his buddy is upstairs trying to take a scroll. Harry grab a broomstick and turn and they start flying around shooting the fire dragon with multiple spells until they close off the door to that area and they manage to get Malfoy and his friend out of there too. Malfoy and his friend get in lots of trouble. They sent off to write a apology note. Harry and Hermione get to go on the field 3. It's now nighttime and the guard is keeping his guard on the perimeter to make sure no naughty kids are outside, and then he gets attacked by Voldemort and that wakes up Harry. Harry feels a burning sensation in his head, goes downstairs and sees the guard knocked out cold with no one there. All he sees is the cat. All the teachers are woken up by an alarm. The library teacher was walking to her bedroom. When she saw it she rang the bell for the teachers, and they came downstairs to see the guard knocked out cold. And then Harry comes downstairs with her Hermione and then Dumbledore says you guys should be back in bed, and then they hear massive explosion and some teachers see something green. Dumbledore takes the kids inside and then they see coming from the shadows a dark figure. 4. Elder the shadows comes Voldemort and Harry draws his wand, but then out of the shadows comes a Dark Lord and swooped down and grabbed Harry's wand. Drawer's wand. Not before Dumbledore pushes Harry out of the way and casts his wand and they get into a heated battle. Meanwhile Ron's mom followed a green light that she could see from the sky and then she arrived to the Hogwarts castle where she sees a bunch of evil wizards, so they start to get in a battle. Harry managed to grab his wand and get into the battle with the person who grabbed his wand. Ronald's mom joins into by fighting another dark wizard and then Hermione comes and releases the fire snake. And it starts to attack Voldemort, but then Baltimore uses Avada-Kedavra on the fire snake and the fire snake turns into just normal fire on the ground. Now Hermione and Dumbledore have to retreat because he's too strong. They hide inside the library while hearing creaking noises from above the library. Teacher was about to say hey, but Dumbledore closes her mouth. And then 5. Snape casted a spell at Harry and Harry blocks it by using a shield. Now Dumbledore is pushing back Snape and now there they are on the top floor and Dumbledore is on the last section about to fall off. Snape casts Avada-Kedavra on Dumbledore. Dumbledore falls off into a pit of fire that the dragon left behind from its head. Snape knows where the kids are now, but the library teacher takes them somewhere else that is really safe. It is where the fire dragon was. Harry grabs a armored old helmet and a jukebox. He finds a record player, goes outside and throws it and it starts playing music. Hears it and brings his group over. Ron's mom comes over and sees where it threw, so she goes inside and then they realize they can just go through the door. The door is closed off with rubble though. But then the library teacher casts a spell that makes the rocks move and they hide. That place that they came into was the training facility, an old one though, back when Dumbledore was not the principal of the school, so they start training inside. There they start gathering a bunch of weapons and sometimes they go outside of the door to grab other materials. Now they're ready. They come outside but don't see Voldemort. They look around but then 6. The person who took Harry's wand, the person who Ron's mom was fighting, and Baltimore surround them. And then they see Snape in the background. And Harry says how could you betrayed us? Why to Snape and Voldemort. Voldemort says it was boring. Dumbledore was the worst principal ever, it should have been me. Snape says I was sick of the stuff that you troublemakers were doing in my class. I only teach Slytherin, not Gryffindor. And then Harry runs rules under and through the villains and goes to the office for Dumbledore. Dumbledore. Pat Phoenix was there with the Sorting Hat. The Sorting Hat says the hair flip me over and you shall be granted the Gryffindor sword. Out of the hat comes a sword. The sword can defeat anyone. He runs outside blasting flies across the courtyard. That was enough time for the others. They started blasting the other villains. And then up behind Voldemort comes Harry with the Gryffindor sword. 7. And then Baltimore turns around and says Avada Kedavra at Harry. Harry blocks it with the Gryffindor shield. And then the evil wizard falls because the back of Voldemort was shot by Hermione. Voldemort fell over, giving Harry the time to cast a freezing spell on Voldemort. He says any last words. Voldemort can't talk and then stabs Voldemort in the back with the Gryffindor sword. And then Voldemort says I'll be back, we'll be back and coming for you, Potter. 8. Baltimore gets turned into ashes. The whole school is cheering, but Malfoy and his friend are cheering for a reason. They are gonna bring a massive snake and they're gonna grab as Voldemort ashes and make a potion of regeneration and then bring Voldemort back. But that will be a while because everyone is going to vote for Harry or Hagrid. 9. They choose Hagrid to be the principal. It is all peace and it was about to be Halloween. All the decorations were up and on Halloween night they came true when they brought a massive snake to be a distraction. They have a prison for Voldemort acid. Just in case he comes back alive, they managed to grab a couple of Voldemort's ashes. And then they're playing when in action they let loose the snake. They grabbed his ashes and it was perfect. Harry managed to take out the massive snake and Harry realized what was going on before he could even move. There is a massive lightning strike at the cemetery they brought, and Voldemort brought back by some of the evil wizards. They made a plan with Malfoy and his friend let loose the snake. Will they crab for the masses and bring them back to life? 10. Baltimore comes in and searches for Harry. He finds Harry walking around in the courtyard before Harry can even do anything. Tells his accomplices to blast. Harry was about to look behind him, but before he could, he got blasted on the leg and before he knew it, he was flying in the air. Then he hit the ground. Everyone was running around terrified because Voldemort was back and Voldemort said a spell Harry where he couldn't move and then he blasted Harry with the Avada Kedavra. Hermione blocked it, and Hagrid heard the commotion. Hagrid joining the fight and Ron's mom. Ron's mom was now an attendant at the school. They were now fighting for Harry's life was about to disappear and everything was looking good. Malfoy and his friend blasted a spell, but there was a ghost in the courtyard and grabbed Malfoy and knocked him down. The shot bounced off of the wall and hit Malfoy, freezing Malfoy for a long time. Then Malfoy's friend started to blast the ghost. The ghost was not affected. She grabbed a stick and threw it at his head. She looked over to her right and she saw a trophy on the ground and smacked it on his head. They were both knocked out cold. It was a long and hard fight, but Voldemort backed off and went into the forest, never to be seen again until they managed to bring Dumbledore back to life with a potion and a long time in the hospital bed. Everything was normal until 11. Voldemort blasts the school with a disastrous spell and it starts to blow up a bunch of classrooms. People are running around. People are trying to get out of the building as quick as they can. Explosions are going everywhere and Baltimore to tennis team are looking for Harry. They are blasting the whole school. Malfoy out and Baltimore. Harry was in the library catching up spells until he explosions and he hears Voldemort say, "Come out here." Potter is crazy. Harry realizes he has to come out or the whole school would be blown up. He comes out with his hands off and drops his wand, but he didn't know Harry had the Gryffindor sword before Voldemort knew it. The sword was casted in front of the Avada Kedavra spell. It looks like the sword was about to break. Harry moves the sword out of the way, and Harry got blasted flying into the school through one of the walls, and eventually landing in the middle courtyard. He sees Voldemort and then he gets knocked out. He wakes up inside a shelter. Water has not blown up yet. They have made a shelter, the hospital and other parts of the school. They do. Voldemort does not know where Harry is and his accomplices because they got blasted by some other high-class wizards and Hermione blasted one of them and Ron's mom blasted another one. Thor didn't see them take Harry so that Harry ran away. He started looking for Harry and Voldemort did not think that he would be in the school anymore because he knew the whole school would be blowing up if he was inside. Hears the commotion from his garden and runs towards there, not before getting blasted. 12. Everyone was outside, battling for the survival of Harry. Harry was getting treated for his wounds. Voldemort was fighting multiple people at the same time, blasting the place and some buildings that were still standing. That was part of the phase to get blue. They had to retreat up the stairs before they could get blown up. Whole floor was surprised. Baltimore was backing off and was walking away slowly, thinking Harry went home. Harry was saved from his wounds and took a massive shot at Bald, realizing one of the people that were on the other side, which was Malfoy, was a traitor. He blasted Malfoy out the window and he landed on the ground. Some pieces of school were off, not the whole school. School was safe. Only some rock work at the bottom was destroyed, but everything was fine. Dumbledore was inside the hospital with Harry and was about to get up, and when he did, he said, "Harry, you are now the principal assistant." Principal assistant. Protect the principal, which in this case is Harry protecting Dumbledore. Season 2.